Welcome to the Government News Brief for Thursday, January 21, 2016. In the news, government says it never intended to take away Wales estate workers' livelihood, rice crop closely being monitored, and Health Ministry urges citizens to take preventative measures against emerging diseases. With these and other stories, I am Azim Khan. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu says it was never the intention to put Wales estate workers out of a job. Here's that story.
Should the Wales Sugar Estate continue to operate, it would cause an unbearable burden on the company and the country. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu has made it clear that it was not the coalition government's intention to put workers out of employment.
In any restructuring of the sugar industry, you're going to have some workers would be affected. You will try to absorb labor from one estate to another estate, one type of operation into another type of operation, but the intention is never to deny workers a job. The intention is how to save the industry.
Meanwhile, Gaisuku's General Manager of Technical Services, Yusuf Abdul, explained that should Wales be upgraded, tremendous investments would be needed.
The factory, as the Chief Executive did mention, is very, very old. It has equipment that are over 100 years old, particularly the steam generation equipment, which is the major equipment for the operation of the mills, of the factory. The cane preparation equipment are now obsolete. We don't have space for them. They're no longer manufactured. And ever so often we have significant failures with the equipment them.
Also influencing the decision to close Wales Estate was the fact that the company's management over the years has been directing funds from other performing estates to prop up Wales, which has been performing poorly. As moves continue to safeguard the livelihoods of the sugar workers, some of them would be absorbed at the Iflood Sugar Estate. With this Government News Brief, I am Shanti Gopadan reporting.
The current rice crop is being monitored closely by the Agriculture Ministry as the current dry weather patterns continues to prevail. Here are the details.
Traditionally, February and March are the months for rice harvesting. As the dry spell continues to bite deep, the Ministry of Agriculture has given some advice to farmers.
The Ministry of Agriculture has advised all rice farmers particularly, don't plant rice now. If you haven't planted already, don't plant, because you probably wouldn't get water for the rice to grow properly. And we're trying to have enough water to save the crop.
The Agriculture Minister also gave an update on the status of the crop in the various rice-producing regions.
What has been planted varies from region to region. I think Region 2 has over 60% planted. Region 3, I think, has a big problem. They might get through with what they're supposed to do. Region 4 is at a big plant of rice. Region 5 is about 90%. Region 6 is around that same thing. But we don't want that extra 10% to be planted at this point in time because there's no water.
There is some concern among farmers about the next rainy season, which is expected in May-June.
The fact I'm more concerned about is why the May-June rains are late. If they say come mid-May or towards the end of May. It never fails. I mean, May-June rains have never failed in Guyana. So if it comes later, then you can expect the ramifications on the harvesting later on in the year or the production later on in the year.
The Agriculture Ministry is working with other agencies such as the Civil Defense Commission and the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to monitor the areas hardest hit by the current dry weather conditions. Interventions will be made where needed.
The Ministry of Public Health is urging citizens to practice healthy habits and utilize preventative measures as it continues to monitor for emerging diseases in the Caribbean. Shivani Rampasad reports.
Thus far, there has been one reported case of Zika in Guyana. While this is so, the ministry is undertaking preventative measures, such as fogging for vectors.
We are prepared. There's no need for us to call on PAHO WHO to help us. PAHO WHO has already been on our side and they have already been helping us. You know, we have dealt with that mosquito before for the longest while. The Aedes aegypti came with dengue, and dengue has been around for years. The chikungunya, it's the same thing. So when the Aedes aegypti appear with the Zika, then, you know, it's the same process we're doing.
The Public Health Ministry is currently on the watch for Zika and the H1N1 diseases, which currently hit neighboring Brazil and Venezuela, as well as the Caribbean. Treated bed nets have been placed at all prenatal clinics to prevent possible birth defects derived from the diseases, as special attention is being given to pregnant women. Meanwhile, there has been one reported case of H1N1 in Guyana. Unfortunately, the patient died overseas. The individual did not contract the disease locally. All local healthcare providers and family members who came into contact with the deceased are still being monitored. Zika, a vector-borne disease, is transmitted by the Aedes mosquitoes. Symptoms of the viral infection include fever, headache, joint and muscle pains, rash, and sometimes swelling of the limbs. Some persons may also experience vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pains. Symptoms of the H1N1 virus includes coughing, fever, sore throat, body aches, and headaches. It can only be transmitted if an infected person coughs or sneezes, releasing the virus-infected particles into the air. Minister of Public Health Dr. George Norton says the ministry is currently monitoring the situation and is fully prepared for the fight against these diseases. With this government news brief, Shivani Rampaswad reporting.
The MV Kimbia will soon be operational as 90% of the repairs and rehabilitation works have been completed. Here are the details.
The passengers using the MV Kimbia service to and from the Northwest District will benefit from reduced journey time and improved passenger facilities after the repairs and rehabilitation that were affected to the vessel.
We are on the main deck of the MV Kimbia and we are in the process of the rehabilitation and repairs. And right now we had experienced some variation works, mainly in the hull. The hull is divided into tanks, and we had encountered some holes in these tanks. And these tanks are actually a safety mechanism, just in case there's a breach of the hull, the water would be contained in these tanks. Right now we are in the process of painting, and there's some minor works going on in terms of repairs to the after passenger accommodation doors. It's just we're actually at the ending part of the docking.
During the execution of the project, other aspects that needed attention were discovered and will be executed to the tune of $61 million, in addition to the $107 million expended to execute works to the superstructure, the hull, underwater fittings, and the interior of the vessel. 2015 saw the sum of $644 million being allocated for the dredging of the Demerara and Essequibo rivers, docking of MV Sandaka, MV Barima, and MV Kimbia, acquiring spares and rehabilitating stellings at Georgetown, Perica, Legwan, and Bartica. Plans are in train to procure 2 new ferry vessels from the government of India. One vessel will be utilized on the Berbice River, whilst the other will provide service to Bartica.
The Small Business Bureau is continuously catering for businesses' needs, servicing 10 to 15 entities on a daily basis. Shanaz Alo tells us more.
Serving different kinds of businesses across Guyana, the Small Business Bureau is continuing to better help people requiring their services.
But what we've tried to do is to ensure that we perfect what we're doing, perfect our work, and to focus our efforts. So bit by bit we're trying to work, even though we don't discriminate against businesses when they come in from various sectors.
The training is aimed at boosting businesses nationwide, thus creating a lucrative environment for Guyana's economy.
Matter of fact, when our clients register with us, they're required to indicate to us what are their training needs, what are their constraints. Based on these, once we run a query in our database and we see the prevailing needs, we're able to channel our training mechanisms towards these needs that would have been highlighted.
The Small Business Bureau helps small businesses access procurement opportunities available to them. Business stakeholders' recommendations with respect to their needs are also being dealt with by the Small Business Bureau.
That has brought us to the end of the government news brief for Thursday, January 21, 2016. All our programs are on our website. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. Remember to send us your Guyana Nice photo. Here's ours.